So if you have been struggling at all with creating content, whether it's online or just in your creative space, and you're kind of getting frustrated with that, then you're in the right place. 'Cause I'm not only going to show you how to create content very easily, but by doing this, you will never run out of content again. I guarantee it. I'm giving you the loop guarantee. This was from the last video we just had here. And we're going to dive right into it. This is like a never run out of content formula. Okay? Now, I want you guys to be able to see the board. I'm going to do my best to make sure you can see me, but if I'm not in focus, that's okay, because you seeing this board is more important than you seeing me. So the first thing I want you guys to start to do, there's only 3 steps to this, guys. And I promise you, if you do this, you'll never run out of content again. First step number 1 is you have to observe. Observe. So what does that mean? That means you need to start becoming observant of the world around you. Okay? I promise this all goes together. And for you guys who can't pay attention, I'm gonna give you 3 steps. Observe, find the lesson, and relate it. Okay? So you guys can't pay attention? There you go. Observe is the first one. That means I want you to start to notice the things around you, and what are your thoughts on those? You know, one of the ways that I think we're here to help people is one of the gifts that we all have is we all see something different. Meaning, I look at an apple and I think of the apple tree at my grandma's house when I grew up as a kid and playing in that tree, and I really miss that apple tree, and we used to eat the apples there, and that brings up stories. So it means you have to observe. So I observe the tree and I think something. That becomes a piece of content, but only when you apply lesson number 2. And I'm gonna put it all together. I want to get the lessons out to you first, but I want to get a marker that actually works that you can see to observe. So the next thing you have to do is there we go, that's much better. I want you to find the lesson. Find the lesson in it. So this is going to make a lot of sense. So if number 1 is observe, meaning I observe the apple tree, okay? I observe the apple tree. And now I find the lesson. What's the lesson? Well, I think it's important to have fun. I think one of the things that people are lacking in the world we live in is fun doesn't really matter so much like it used to. So now that I found a lesson, now we have to go to the 3rd step, and I'm gonna put this all together and show you an example. It's gonna make a lot more sense to you, is you need to relate it. Relate it. Now, when you relate it, it relates different to who you're talking to, okay? Which means that if I see something, for example, content right now, there's a guy I'm looking outside, he just drove by on a motorcycle. It makes me, wind therapy is so important. Wind therapy, and what is that? What's the lesson in that? Observe the motorcycle. What does that mean? Wind therapy. So my thought would be like, well, it's important to get out and escape. That's one lesson in it. So we just found one lesson. Just to kind of escape the everyday is great. What's another lesson you could find in that? In someone riding by in a motorcycle? Take risks. What's another lesson? What's another lesson from seeing some guy ride a motorcycle? There's some people who are just braver than others. What's another lesson? Riding a motorcycle is dangerous, crazy. Why would anyone do that? I don't understand. People are interesting. Interesting people. Interesting people. That's a lesson. So we've just got 4 pieces of content, and do we want to keep going? Because we can just keep doing this all day, and as you practice doing this over and over and over again, you get to be so good at this where now I see the motorcycle and I think of like, how does he know how to repair that? You know, and it's just amazing how we can learn anything. Or maybe it's like, well, who invented that? It's crazy how someone can actually think and invent something on 2 wheels. Like, people are amazing. Like inventions, why they're important. So can you see we've gotten 6 lessons from me just looking at someone ride by in a motorcycle in a spur of a moment. So with these, you could choose one of these and you want to relate it. Brave. Like, brave people have great stories to tell. What story are you telling? Oh, can y'all? Are you following? Are you guys following how I just made that piece of content now? Now I just got to talk about it. Let's talk about escape. People work so hard that I think people don't escape enough. And not only do you want to relate it, there's a fourth step I just thought of right now that went through my brain, is what's the problem with that? Or what's the problem it solves? You can take either approach. You can take the negative or the positive side of it, which gives two different things of content as well. Because people aren't escaping. People are working tough lives, jobs they don't like. People training to get better at a job that they hate, in to use the words of Rachel from Friends. And if you don't escape it, you never get to see another perspective. And life is all about perspective. So we just found the lesson. And that allowed us to go to escape, but then from escape, as we started to talk about it, we started to think of perspective, which is do perspective. We can talk about freedom. We can talk about so many different things, all from these things. 3 simple steps. You need to observe, you need to find the lesson, you need to relate it. And like I say, this is a formula that I've come up with that works for me. But I want you to think about how many pieces of content could you create in one day just looking at the things you observe. I just look, boom, a white Jeep Wrangler just rode by. What's the thought that comes to? The adventure. Get off the road. Take it off road. Like sometimes you got to get off the road. Off road. To rest, maybe. So we can relate that to rest. Maybe it's about exploring now. Exploring. Meaning getting out your comfort zone. I know it's crooked handwriting, but are you getting the picture here? So if you apply this formula, you'll see that your world around you is giving you things all the time that you can see. All of this is content that you can share and create. It's literally unlimited. Even if you can't see anything, every thought. So, all right, so let's just break down the first part, because I think you could find the lesson and relate it. That's pretty easy. But if you miss the first step, you never get to do these other ones. So let's just take the first one, observe. There's a lot of things that you can observe. Okay? So I'm going to try to do this. Don't make fun of my drawings now. That's really bad. Can y'all guess what that is? It looks like a very interesting face, but that is a picture of the world. Okay? Okay, listen guys, okay? I want you to observe this. This is the world, and actually with all my pictures, captions are needed, okay? So this is the world. So with that being the world, you can observe all the stuff that's happening here in the world, which is unlimited content, by the way. So let's talk about that. What does that mean? Well, for one, there's the world you see. You look around. You don't move, you just look around. And there's the world that you read about. So reading something can give you a piece of content. Some of y'all see where I'm going with this. There's also the world. What's in the world? You watch. But this is a subcategory. This can be real, fake. What's that mean? Movies or whatever. Movies or like the news. I don't watch the news, but news or current events, things that are happening around the world, sporting event, whatever it is. See a headline as you're walking through the store. Can y'all see that this is a lot? And then there's more. There's the inner world. What's the inner world? Let me know. What's the inner world? The inner world are your thoughts. Because not only is there what you see, but what do you think about what you're seeing, about what you're reading? So every thought you have, you can literally observe your thoughts. And if any of you are like me, you have a million thoughts in a million different ways that sometimes don't even connect. Each one of those are a piece of content, guys. Are you following me? Each one of those is a piece of content. Each one. And here's the cool thing that no one ever tells you about creating content. When you create one piece of content, it often sets you up for 2 other pieces of content. And those 2 pieces of content starts about 2 other pieces. And what you start to do from one piece of content, this was the guy on the motorcycle that I just said, he takes risk. He takes risk. So I started talking about taking risks. Then I think about the risks that I've taken and the risks that people don't take. And now I start to think about the risks that people, because they don't take, here's the consequences of life that they have. People who do take the risk, here's the stories they get to tell. And you can see how it just breaks down into so much more. But it all started with observing. If you don't observe what's going on, you're going to struggle. You're going to have a challenge. See, so many people aren't observing. You know what most people are doing? They judge, step 1, and they gossip, step 2, and they just repeat the cycle. That's what happens. So how can people not have content? Well, if you do this, can you see how it's hard to come up with content? Where you could observe what you see, all this stuff. You can observe all that stuff. Then you can find the lesson in each of those. Can you see that? Can you see how you can find the lesson in it? And then you can see how you can relate that to something relevant for somebody. Tell a story with that. So if you follow these 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, I promise you'll never run out of content again. Whether that's for your podcast, whether that's for a YouTube channel, whether that's for whatever it is you want to film, a blog, a book. There's infinite number of books you can do because there's infinite number of things you can see. So meaning that your content is based off of what you observe. And as you start to train this in your mind, not only are you able to come up with unlimited pieces of content, but you're able to come up with unlimited lessons, unlimited things that you can give. Now, you don't have to repeat the same things over and over again because you're constantly getting new stimuli, seeing new things. So this is what I want you to do. And if this video was beneficial, I hope it wasn't too long, was beneficial, let me know your thoughts. Would you add something? Would you take it away? Let me know. And if you've watched it this far, as I tell many people, you qualify for some interesting things that I have coming up. I want to work with serious people. I love working with serious people. Whatever I have available at this time, because it's going to be changing, I do have clarity calls that I do to help people get clear on what they want to do, get clear on who you want to help, on what the mark you want to leave in this world. And all those are linked in the description below. But use this formula to create as much content as you want, to help as many people as you can, and to do it with a smile on your face. Stay blessed by the best, as one of my mentors says, and I'll see you all.